Hey, this is Sky. Welcome to my YouTube channel. I'm in the office taking care of business, paying bills as usual, mind, body, and soul. This is how we get through. Tuesday, hurricane's coming. We're all trying to get ready in town for this storm. I've been pretty busy for the last 2 days. I got a couple businesses that I run that are busy right now. Motorcycle shop, and I'm doing coaching, and I got just a lot of stuff going on. We have Biketoberfest coming next weekend, and it hasn't been canceled yet. I don't think they're going to cancel it. The whole town could be underwater, but they're not going to cancel it. But I'm finally getting a little bit caught up. Many of you have sent me emails wishing me well, and thank you for that. That means a lot. I don't have a topic to talk about. I was planning on doing some biker news. I didn't even fire up the laptop to see if there was any good stories. There might be some good stories. I'll try to get some time later, and we'll get on it this week sometime if we get a chance. Let's just pick up where we left off with the study group for warriors. We can do a Tuesday study group. So we'll just pick up where we left off. I have lots of notes. I study every day, so I always can find a topic to present to you guys, give us something to think about. You ever think about language? I've become rather articulate, and I wasn't always. I used to talk differently. Reading has really helped me learn a lot about language, and writing. I read a lot and I write books. And the two together have really helped my vocabulary. My brother has a good vocabulary, and he doesn't read much, but he does crossword puzzles a lot. He's a crossword junkie. He gets those crossword books, he does them in the paper, does them online, does them on his phone. He's all about that kind of stuff, and other word games. And that's helped him with his vocabulary, and he's become articulate. The more articulate you are, the more masterful you are of the English language, the easier life is. Communication is so important, and if you can express yourself, you can get pretty far. If you can understand people and understand nuance and understand symbolism and metaphor and all kinds of various aspects of language, of our language, you navigate a little easier. In fact, your vocabulary and how articulate you are, that determines your reality. When you can't speak well, your reality is kind of closed down. You're very limited. I've often wondered about this, that people who know many languages, I only know English. I know a couple different types of English. I can speak Ebonics. I can speak normal English. I can speak Southern English that they have around here. But I've wondered about people who speak different languages, and if they're actually living in a different reality. So say, for example, I believe it's Russian. They have a lot of different words for like the color blue, for example. So we have light blue, dark blue. They have like 10 different words for light blue. A whole bunch of different words to describe light blue. Whereas if you ask me, what is that color? I'd say that's light blue. All day, that's light blue. A Russian's gonna be able to tell you exactly what kind of light blue. They're living in a different color spectrum than I am. They're seeing various shades of light blue that I might not even notice because they have different words for them. So does your vocabulary, does your language limit your reality, and can it expand your reality? I say definitely it can expand your reality. I'm just a little bit lazy to learn different languages, but I wish that I could speak different languages. Let's move on to the next one. Yesterday was October 7th. I was going to make a video like I did last year and bash radical Islam, bash Iran, bash Hamas, Hezbollah, and the Houthi rebels, bash all terrorists, bash Muslim extremism, I was going to give you the whole history, just like I did before. I already made this video. I was going to do the same video again. I had to catch myself. I was going to give you the whole history of the conflict, and for any of you out there with this misconception that somehow Jews don't belong in Israel, or they just somehow moved there and they're a colonialist force, I was going to lay it all out for you, just like I did before, the whole timeline, tell you the facts, dispel any of this fantasy or propaganda, these lies that people have bought into. Stuff that I used to believe also. This is one good thing about the internet. You have access to information. But then I stumbled a part of my algorithm. When I scroll down YouTube, there's a little section of belief and spirituality, and I can scroll through all those videos. It feeds me this stuff. I don't have to type in search keywords. It just feeds this shit to me, and I love it. I think the algorithm has gotten to know me pretty darn well. It feeds me great videos. And I'm scrolling through there, and one of the first things that came up was forgiveness, forgiving your enemies. And I watched it, and that set the tone for the day. Yesterday, all I could think about was, is it possible? Maybe it's possible for you, but is it possible for me to forgive enemies? This has been really hard for me in the past. Why would you forgive enemies? Isn't that a weakness? The desire for vengeance is a sin. If you refuse to forgive, you won't be forgiven upon final judgment. How dare you ask God to forgive you when you can't forgive others? When you damn and condemn others, you play God. Isn't that what you're doing when you hold a grudge, when you want vengeance, when you want revenge? Is you're playing God? That's the least humble you can be, is when you're in your vengeance mode. Was Jesus ever vengeful? What would Jesus do? He forgave his enemies. How many times? He said 70 times 7. That's a lot. You get your calculator out. And it's really just meant to be an infinite amount of times. A lot of times. Forever. You keep forgiving them over and over again. It's hard to do it even once. Have you ever had a real enemy? Many of you have. Could you imagine forgiving them? Yeah, that person that fucked you over, that person that shot you, stabbed you, dumped you, whatever it was, took your kids from you and all your money and left you in that position, whatever it was that happened, could you forgive that person? It's hard. It's hard, and I was thinking about how much I hate Hamas, how much I hate Hezbollah, how much I hate Iran, Islamic Muslim extremists. And I felt like, well, geez, is it possible for me to step out of this battle and to let God handle it? And if I do that, that means I have to forgive them and move on. And could I forgive people who decapitated 40 babies, who raped women in front of their husbands and shot husbands in front of their women? They didn't kill soldiers, they killed innocent people. Could I forgive them who did that? I don't know. I don't know. I've been beaten with baseball bats. Caved my rib cage in. Could I forgive them? My own father shot at me. Could I forgive him? I was in my van and he shot at the van with his .357, trying to teach me a lesson. Could I forgive him? That's a hard one. Here's a good quote. Comedian Jimmy Carr, I think that's his name. A British dude, he dresses in a suit, he's real uptight, but he's funny. I was watching an interview with him the other day. He's funny, he's a funny guy, he's really smart. And I like him. He has dyslexia, and I have dyslexia. So I like guys like that who have, despite their, what do you call it, their setback. Dyslexia isn't a disease or anything. It's not really a handicap. But it can make things harder for you, and despite that, he's been successful. There's lots of other people, Tom Cruise. There's a whole list of celebrities. I know who all of them are. They all had dyslexia. And I like those stories of people who can become successful even though they have problems. You could sit there and use it as an excuse and say, man, the world dealt me a bad hand of cards and that's why I never started that business or never went anywhere. Why didn't you ever become anything? Well, because look at me, look what I was dealt with. I like it when a person can just move forward regardless. They can conquer regardless. But he said, you don't rise to your goals, you rise to your systems. That's such a good quote. It's so important to understand. Rising to your goals may be hard. You may have high goals. Actually, it's important to pick a goal that's just out of reach, that's really, really a big goal. And you struggle and strive every day, monotonously, relentlessly, over and over, repetitively, just like the gym, just like other areas in life. And you show up there every day. You show up to this path every day. You're not rising to the goal because the goal may be still out of reach. You're rising to your daily discipline, to a system of lifestyle management and daily discipline. This is what the Mind, Body, and Soul program is all about. A program that I live, that I coach, that I mentor. You can go to my website at skyazrael.com. Here's some advice. Move on to the next one. Find work that feels like play. Oh, that's hard. If you could do anything, say if you're a millionaire, and of course if you were a millionaire, maybe you'd want to sit on the beach and drink Mai Tais, but after a while that'd get boring. So you'd want to have some project or something to do, and you got all this money, you might as well do something with that money. What are you going to do? Start a business? Start a foundation? Travel the world? What would you do with all that money? Well, find work that feels like play. Sit and fantasize about what would the ultimate job be like, where no matter what, if you had the skill, the opportunity, forget about the barriers. This is a fantasy. I hate when people try to interject all these barriers to their fantasy. It's like you're terrible at fantasizing. This is a world that you can create on your own. You'd be the loser in your fantasy world. Think about what would be fun. What could you do for 8 hours a day that wouldn't even feel like work? Where you'd be like laughing that you're even getting paid for this. I get paid to do this? No way. That's crazy. Because I love this. I can't get enough of it. Do you have a job like that? I don't think many people do. But sit and think about that. Maybe even write it down. Write down a little list of fantasy jobs. They might be crazy. You don't have to share the list with people because they might laugh at you. But look down that list and you might see something in there that's actually doable. Because that's one of the tricks in life, is you can find a job that you love, that really fulfills you. It doesn't have to be fun all the time, but if it feels less like work and more like a game, if it feels important and meaningful and purposeful, your whole life transforms. Let's go to another one. These are all Jimmy Carr quotes, this comedian guy. People are jealous of what you got, but not interested in how you got it. I thought that was good. People are jealous of what you got, but not interested in how you got it. And that's certainly true. We look at celebrities or wealthy people and we like their lifestyle. The stuff that they got. I wish I had that. I wish I had that lifestyle. Those cars, that woman, whatever it is. But you don't really know what that guy had to go through in order to get there. Some people have really amazing stories. A lot of people do, actually. There's a lot of successful people out there that have really impressive stories. But we're not so interested in the story, in how they rose, how they struggled, what Richard Branson had to do in order to become the owner of Virgin Records. People just have an opinion on him. Maybe they would like his mansion and his private island, but they don't care about the fact that he sold vacuum cleaners, that he started business after business after business and failed at every single one of them until he decided to start a record store, Virgin Records. And there's a lot of people that have really amazing stories and they put in work, hard work. But that's how success comes, is through the process, through the work. So next time you see somebody with some crazy lifestyle, don't let it get you down. Don't be jealous or angry. Sure, it may point out some things to you that maybe you're not where you want to be. That's where that jealousy and envy comes from, right? All that's saying is, maybe I need to move. I need to get up and move. I need some action. So turn that envy into action. Turn that fantasy into forward movement. And start putting in some work. Food for thought. Thanks for watching.